dangerous. And so my son is at risk.
Okay, so your son is at risk. Is that true?
Yes.
So in that moment, you're watching that news, you hear that news about the 13-year-old. Can you absolutely know that your son is at risk? Absolutely know it's true.
No.
So just notice, how do you react? What happens when you believe the thought that your son is at risk?
I feel unsafe. It's like that bubble that I've been in has been just popped. I see images of being in hospital giving birth to him. I see midwives not washing hands or not wearing masks, or people walking through. I see him exposed. I feel hugely attached to him. He must live is the thought that comes with this. I imagine his nursery, which is all here, and I picture this as I sit in the living room watching TV and I see it being unused. I picture emptiness. No baby in the house. I feel desperate, like how do I protect him? My shoulders go up. Everything tightens from here, this part. My jaw tightens. I don't want that to be happening. I look at that news story and I want the boy who died to have had a problem, a pre-existing problem. I want them to say he had an existing lung condition. So I have no compassion at all for that boy and his family. It's all about me. I feel there's no future. He'll never be safe. I feel powerless to keep him safe. I start feeling angry at everybody who has been foolish, who has been out, who has spread it, who has been careless. Government, everyone becomes the enemy again. It's like the world against me and my son.
And how do you treat life when you're believing that thought that your son is at risk?
Just a minefield. It's like you and I, Nadine, worked yesterday, 2 days ago, that I'd had reduced movement, I thought, of him in the womb, and that was a minefield, that he might just stop moving in the womb and die there, and it's like, oh, I'm over that minefield and over that mine, and now there's another mine, and like my mind just goes to, I will never rest. I will never be able to just rest and feel safe that he is alive and here. Life just feels too dangerous. Impossible to be safe here.
What do you fail to see when you're believing that thought that your son is now at risk?
Well, I fail to have compassion for that family, to care about them, to imagine their pain just about them. So I fail to have that outward looking perspective. I fail to see that he does not currently have coronavirus. I fail to see that as far as I've heard, no babies. The fact that it's saying a 13-year-old is the youngest, that means there's 13 years when people haven't died of this. So I fail to see that. I fail to see that as a safe period. Like I suddenly make that dangerous, rather than actually this being a sign that it's relatively safe. I fail to see that in that moment, I'm in my living room with my wife, with my son moving in the womb. He's not, in that moment, he's not in any way at risk in that moment. No more than he had been 5 minutes ago.
Mm. Mm.
I fail to have any concept that I would be okay if he dies too.
Mm.
It's like it's not a possibility. Not okay. Not an option that I could even entertain in that moment.
Mm. So just watching that news story again, it's like, who would you be watching that without that thought that your son is now at risk?
Yeah, I would be outward facing. I would be compassionate. I would wonder about that family. Feel like just love and empathy for them. I would feel separate from them, but in a kind of healthy, compassionate, allowing distance way.
Mm-hmm.
I would feel comfortable.
And in your body.
Yeah, my shoulders would be down. I would feel the preciousness of it all, that none of it's guaranteed at all. It wouldn't be the attachment bit. It would just be, wow, isn't all of it just an amazing miracle? Isn't it all just a bonus? Like this breath, a bonus, this breath, a bonus. I would be in complete not knowing of what's going to happen beyond this minute. Just like right now, big belly.
And then just notice life without the thought that he's now at risk.
Did you say, how do I treat life?
You treat life, yeah, without the thought.
Yeah, life is life and death. I would just see it everywhere, that all these births and deaths and births and deaths, and none of it's predictable or controllable. I'd feel open to that. Curious to see what's life going to do. I wouldn't feel scared. I would feel trusting that life does mysterious things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just keeps coming to me like big belly, like that's woman on sofa with a big belly is the reality that I'm in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what's a turnaround? He's now at risk. Your son is now at risk.
I am now at risk. I'm definitely at risk of stress, of fear, of future, of past, of making up stuff, of disconnecting from my wife in that moment. I'm no longer able to really be in the room. I've gone into my own nightmare. I've gone silent. I'm at risk of that disconnect. I'm at risk of then going down that news, social media rabbit hole of like, now I'm just going to go and research, like, who was this boy and did he have condition? Like, I'm at risk of that spiral. I'm at risk of feeling unsafe. I'm at risk of not enjoying the rest of the evening with big belly.
Yeah.
At risk of going into attachment. Yeah, there's lots of risk. At risk of going into attachment, of like holding on to it has to be this way, of being rigid and tight in that sense, rather than just free and trusting. Risk losing all that peace I've had the last, however many days.
So what's another turnaround?
He's not at risk.
He's not now at risk.
Say again.
He's not now at risk.
He's not now at risk. Yeah, I mean, that's where I found my no. He's like completely protected right now in, fluid and skin and everything. He's not at risk. There is currently no child under 13 in the UK who has died of coronavirus. So he is not in a category that dies right now, or even for the next 13 years currently. He's not at risk. The evidence suggests that pregnant women either don't pass it on or they pass it on and babies are fine. Like there's no studies that puts him in that category. Gosh, it's interesting just to see how much he's not at risk. It's interesting, like with the thought my mind goes to, yeah, but he's a boy and more boys are dying than girls, or more males are dying than females. It's like he's not at risk. He's not in a category that seems to die of this. He's not at any more risk now. The same other risks of life are there. He'll actually be in a hospital for probably less time than he would have been before coronavirus. Everyone's covering up much more. They've got, masks and gloves and everything, and people won't be popping around to see him all the time. When he's born, they're not going to be neighbours wanting to come and cuddle him and give them their germs, and he's going to be very protected from lots of germs. He's not at a risk that's not his path. That's what I really see, that if I can really see that things don't happen off path, then he's not at like untimely risk somehow. I don't know how to quite say that, but yeah, he's not at risk now.
Yeah, and then it's just that like flipping, the opposite of risk. It's like he's now at risk. It's like he's now, what's your opposite of risk?
Right, he's now safe.
Right, so just to notice that, it's like, reality.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, in this moment, he's safe completely. Yeah, that's all I know right now. He's safe right now. And I also see, if he dies, that is also a kind of safety. In that he's not in a suffering world.
Yeah.
So if I could just see that he's safe, no matter what, it's me that's attached to him. Right. I'm putting something on him if I assume that he needs to live for him. It's me. It's my attachment.
Putting risk on him.
Yeah, putting risk on him. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Karina. Thank you. Wow.
Yeah, and I'm interested in other, if others were working that along with their own children or situation, if any thoughts that came to you, any insights that came to you.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I liked what you said about when you believe the thoughts that you cut yourself off from your loved ones, and that's my worksheet. The pain that has been in my worksheet has caused me to cut myself off, because I've been more concerned about my pain.
Right.
And that's taken me away from engaging in what's actually going on. So that was that was very relevant for me too.
It's so ironic, isn't it? Like the very, the thought of kind of pain causes us pain. The thought of disconnection causes us disconnection. It's really, very stark to see that. Hedda, you were going to say something.
Hedda, we don't hear you so well. Just come a little bit closer, maybe.
No.
Not
No?
Yeah.
No.
now, yes.
Better?
Yes.
All right. Just give me a shout if it doesn't work. I don't know, it was question 3 or 4. I don't know if it was something you said, Corinna, or if it was my thought. It's when I heard inside my head that I can't protect my son, and I became so sad, and it hasn't left me since. It's just like, to me it feels, it's like, another thing I can't control. It's another thing I can't keep him safe. I don't know, for some reason it makes me really sad, and it makes me quiet in a nice way. It's this fighting, this trying to keep him safe, it sort of stops. And I think, I actually think there are worse things in life than this virus, and just shows me I think you said it, Corinna, it can be so many things, and it makes me sad. Makes me sad that we can't save everybody who we want to save. And I mean, everybody would be safe because everybody has somebody loving him or her. So it makes me sad. Not very uplifting.
Yeah, it reminds me of what Corinna said. It's like underneath those, it's like, I need him to live. And,
yes.
and my mind goes to, is that true?
Yes. And what was lovely for me was, as well, is the fact that maybe in my daily life I go along possibly not really prepared to consider my children's deaths. And so that was quite nice to have somebody else say it. Because it brings it out in the open, and I noticed myself going, I don't often let myself think about that. That's probably quite healthy, just to accept that a moment or two of thought of that sometimes can be.
Well, it's just to notice, Rosie, like and for you, Hedda, it's like the position where it's like, I am not willing for him to die. I'm not willing for that to happen, and just to feel what that feels. And just feel that position. And then it's like, just if it's possible, it's like just to gently move to open a little bit to that position of, okay, am I willing? I don't want it to happen, but am I willing for that to happen at any point? And then just to kind of feel that, and then just feel the difference of those positions.
Sue,
you raised to say something.
Yeah, I just thank you both, everyone, for the contribution. I noticed in question 4, when you started to look out with compassion, and I realized that when I'm coming from a place of fear, it's like I go into a shell. And if I can get out of that me, all about me, I can open up to what's going on outside and be connected to that. That was it was just a revelation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to stop the recording there
Mhm.
and